Good morning. Welcome to the May Columbia Chamber of Commerce Issues Forum. This is the monthly meeting we hold on the first Tuesday of every month, where we highlight or discuss critical issues or potentially critical issues to the business community in the Columbia area. My name is Mark James. I'm with Cypress Real Estate Partners, and I'm also the chairman of the Public Policy Committee at the Chamber. We're the committee that hosts this forum monthly, and very excited to see everybody here today, and would like to welcome as our special guest today Chandler Cox with Hughes Development Corporation. She's going to share some really interesting updates on the BullStreet District and the progress that's taking place there, and we're excited to have her here. And obviously this is, as a commercial real estate developer in Columbia, this is a project that I have been watching closely. And so this is a particularly good topic for me that I'm interested in. And so before we get too far into it, a couple housekeeping notes. For a crowd this size, we mute everybody, but then we also have the capacity to take questions through the chat function in your Zoom program. And so any questions you have in the process, please submit those through that chat function, and we'll get those to Chandler and get those questions answered. And then also would be negligent if we did not thank our sponsors for today's forum, Bank of America and Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we certainly do appreciate their support. And again, as we move into the program, Chandler is with us. She is part of the Hughes Development Corporation. She is a project manager for them. She is a graduate of Clemson University Master's in Real Estate program up there, which is a very well respected and well thought of program. And we're excited to have her. In her role as project manager for BullStreet, she really is responsible for everything in this project from the beginning until the end, from the design phases all the way through to occupancy. This involves dealing with architects, engineers, contractors, potential tenants, potential buyers, perhaps other developers. She has to be responsible for financial management. I say all that just as somebody who has a great deal of respect for somebody who's managing a 181-acre urban mixed-use project such as our BullStreet district. And so she deserves a lot of our respect and appreciation for the impact that this project is having on downtown Columbia. I will speak personally for a moment. I remember going to the charrette process back in 2005 when the BullStreet project first came up, and the availability of this property from the Department of Mental Health came forward, and Mayor Coble was really instrumental in pushing this thing along and seeing what the opportunity was. And then at a later time, I was on the Planning Commission when a lot of these things came through, and was ultimately chairman of the Columbia Planning Commission when the form-based code was adopted for the BullStreet District. And so I've got some intimate knowledge of this project and the history, and again, just have a great deal of appreciation for what it is. As a native Columbian, it's nice to see a lot of activity that we're seeing really seem to accelerate here recently. So Chandler, you've got a presentation for us. Just walk us through some of the stuff that you'd like to share with us, and then we'll dive into some questions and answers.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Mark. I'm glad to be with you guys today. Thank you, Carl and Susan, Anna and Henry, and everybody at the Chamber for inviting us to share a little bit about the BullStreet District and all the progress that we've made recently. I know many of you have watched BullStreet grow over time. There've probably been a lot of Fireflies games, maybe some visits to the First Base building or an event at Central Energy. So today I want to focus on what has happened in sort of the past 14 months, things you may not have seen if you haven't been out to BullStreet recently. So one of our company philosophies has always been to underpromise and overdeliver. And that's been something that we've tried to carry throughout this project, One of the great illustrations of that is when we first agreed to that development agreement with the City of Columbia in 2015 that Mark mentioned. We were to save 5 historic buildings that were on the campus. So we're up to 10 now. And that's kind of the way that we've always tried to run BullStreet and all the other projects that we've worked on, is really just to underpromise and overdeliver and do more than we say that we wanted to do. So I say that because BullStreet has always been a 20-year project. And when you think about a 20-year project, you might have to weather a recession or two. No one, I think, could have foreseen a global pandemic. So this, last March, in the past 14 months, we, like every other business in the country, are sort of wondering what the next weeks and months were going to look like. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what we've been able to do during COVID. A lot of people see BullStreet when they come out to Fireflies games. So if you haven't been out recently, what's going on, what you can see coming up, because we also have baseball starting a week from today. So I will share my screen. You'll let me know if you can see that. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to start in March of 2020. And so this, I'm sure a lot of people have seen. This is the master plan for BullStreet. It gives you kind of an update of things that are going on, where things are in the process. The one thing I say about master plans is they're meant to be deviated from. You gotta plan for your plan to not go according to plan. So this is something that's always iterating and always evolving, but it's a sort of a great thing. And I'll put this up at the end too, that we can talk from if anyone has questions about it specifically. But in March of 2020, right when the pandemic started, we announced that Iron Hill Brewery was coming to BullStreet. They are a really great regional brewery and restaurant with a scratch kitchen. They do all of their own beers in-house. And that was announced in March of last year. I'm really excited to say that that project is still on track. It, like a lot of other restaurants, took a pause during COVID to sort of make sure they knew where they were going and we knew where they were going, and we could work together to deliver that project. But we are in full design now for an Iron Hill Brewery at BullStreet. Be right on the corner of Bull and Matilda Evans, another great addition to sort of the big focus of retail district there. In June of 2020, we started construction on Starbucks, also right along BullStreet. And then in July, the initial demolition and grading for the future University of South Carolina Medical School and Health Science campus was complete. So this image you see here has the park, the 20-acre BullStreet Park in the foreground, Prisma's Midlands campus in the background, and everything here that's sort of this dirt that's been turned were 2 former buildings, all owned by the university now, and they demolished in preparation for their future health science campus. So we've given 8 of the 16 acres that we will give to the university already. And then eventually they will move their medical school, followed by some other programs to include the School of Pharmacy, School of Public Health, and School of Nursing, all to this campus. Also in July of last year, we moved the first residents into Merrill Gardens. Merrill Gardens is an active senior living community, 55 and older. They have independent care and also some age-in-place memory care units, but a really fantastic product. This was a development project done by Second 50 Communities in Charleston, South Carolina, in partnership with Merrill Gardens out of Seattle, Washington. And their whole business philosophy has been to take senior living and put it into urban areas that really make sure that their residents stay integrated into what's going on in their neighborhoods. So when we first started talking to Second 50, it was in probably 2015. They bought their land in 2016. And when they first saw this piece of property, there were no roads to get there, but they saw the vision and they wanted to be, near the public park. So their residents would have great public space, easy access to get to things like walking trails, green space, and also near the baseball stadium. So something I learned as part of this process is that seniors are the #1 purchaser of minor league baseball tickets. So I know that they'll be really excited for the season to get started again. And we're excited to have these guys here. This was also the first for rent residential product available at BullStreet. This is another image. In August of 2020, REI opened for business. It's our first national retailer. The big start at of the retail district focused along Bull Street. And in addition to this project, we've done a lot of infrastructure at Bull Street around the whole campus. So as you come out to Bull Street soon, I hope, for baseball games, things like that, you'll be able to see a lot of new finished public infrastructure. So Freed Street, which is the street that runs down the third baseline of Sacred Park, was completed all the way out to Bull in the past year. And Boyce Street, which runs right on the first baseline, was completed all the way out to Colonial. So that's another, brand new entrance off of Bull into the project that was completed in August of last year. The other, another residential project is the town park at Bull Street. So in September of last year, phase 2 was completed. These are 2-story, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom units that are right along Calhoun Street. 3 of those 4 are sold, and construction actually started on the next phase about a week ago of the next set of townhomes. So those will be the 3-story, 3-bed, 3.5 bath units right at Parker Annex and in the Calhoun Street neighborhoods. In October of 2020, we announced the West Lawn building, something we are really excited about. The first base building office is nearly full. It's about 95% full. And so we started looking at what our next office project was going to be. So West Lawn was announced in October with Robinson Gray as our anchor tenant. They will take the top 2 floors of this building. We have 2 additional floors of office and a floor of retail available. And something that we're really excited about for this project is that it is going to be a cross-laminated timber building, cross-laminated timber hybrid structure. So it's an unusual building material. And when we first talked to Robinson Gray, they were talking about their company culture and, what makes them cool and special and different. And they said, we love the old building that we're in, but we'd love to have them a new build for all of the efficiencies that it offers. And so we said, let's work together and come up with this really great, cool new idea. So we've been working with Perkins and Will, the architecture firm out of Charlotte that specializes in cross-laminated timber, to do this project. So that was announced in October of last year. And this is where you'll see that building. Starbucks is right up here in the right-hand corner, sitting right over this new lawn that'll be constructed. But this is the West Lawn building. In October of 2020, renovations started on the Babcock building. So I'm sure many of you remember the Babcock fire in September. It's when we lost the dome. Luckily, a lot of that clean out had already started, and thanks to really the heroic efforts of the Columbia Fire Department and all the other fire departments that came and helped with this building, that building was able to be saved. And there were some questions for a while about whether or not it was going to be able to go forward. Is it still qualify as a historic project? And the determination was made that it did. So in December of 2020, the key funding was secured for that building, and they have been fully underway since December. We're really excited about this project. It's 208 multifamily units. They have been working on it for years, and the size and scale and magnitude of a project like this, especially from a historic perspective, is so incredible. And we have been, working with Clacken Properties. We gave this property to Clacken Properties in January of last year, and they are doing a full historic renovation. So every tax credit you could possibly think of, they're using, whether it's the National Historic Tax Credit, the State Historic Tax Credits, the Bailey Bill, the abandoned building, so many people coming together to make this project work and to see its success in revitalization of this building. So they started really in earnest in December, and they will deliver their first units end of this year, first of next year. So we expect residents to start living in the first phase of the Babcock building in early 2022, something we're really excited about. In January of this year, Starbucks opened for business, our second major national retailer open at Bull Street. Again, there's a lot of infrastructure that went along with this project. Another new entrance was finished onto Bull Street at Bull and Matilda Evans. That is the new traffic signal that you might see at Bull Street. So that is a brand new traffic signal, helps get people in and out quickly and efficiently, something we're really excited about. I think it'll help a lot for baseball as well. Also in January, we announced that we were hiring a new district manager position. So that is our first full-time Columbia-based hire. Our team is based in Greenville, of course, And we usually are in Columbia a few days a week, at least somebody from our team. Even throughout COVID, we were there. And so it finally became time that we needed to hire a full-time Columbia-based staff member. And in January of 21, earlier this year, we hired Janie Quinn as our BullStreet District Manager, who's been a huge asset to our team. Really excited to have her based in Columbia and being more integrated into the community than a Greenville resident can be, as much time as we spend there. In February of this year, the Columbia Fireflies announced a new affiliation. So for the first 4 years that the Fireflies played, they were a affiliate of the New York Mets, and now they are affiliate of the Kansas City Royals, something we're really excited about, think it's going to be great for the team, and are excited for the Fireflies to have that opportunity to partner with them. They also announced their 2021 baseball season, which I know we and everybody else are really excited about. So that starts a week from today against the Charleston River Dogs as their home opener. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I'm sure they're still available. We'd love to see you there. In March of this year, the USC Board of Trustees voted to officially move the medical school to the BullStreet District campus. That was a big moment for us to confirm their commitment to the campus, to BullStreet, and to the project that they're doing there. So they're managing that project. It's going through all the regulatory processes that it goes through, but that was a big one in March for the USC Board of Trustees to vote that through. And then in March of 2021, we also had the West Lawn groundbreaking. You might recognize Carl in this photo. We're excited to have that project officially underway. You can see REI and Starbucks in the background. So that kind of gives you a little bit of relationship. It's right up along BullStreet, really in that dense urban district that we were looking for. And then in April, we also officially named, the City of Columbia officially named the park at BullStreet, and it is Ellington Park, named after Paige Ellington. Paige Ellington was actually a former slave that was born in Rockingham, North Carolina, but was bought by a family in Columbia, moved to Columbia, and then freed. And he was a self-taught mason and self-taught architect, kind of became the right hand of Dr. James Babcock, and had played a really instrumental role in a lot of the design and construction of buildings at BullStreet. So we're excited to be able to honor his legacy and all that he gave to the BullStreet District over his many years of service to Department of Mental Health by naming the park after him. And the city has really done a great job too of looking at other ways to integrate information into the park. So I think we will continue to work with the Parks and Rec staff and look at opportunities to honor other people that may have played significant roles at BullStreet or in Columbia in the park. So excited about that, and we'll be looking forward to an official grand opening soon. It has been a really popular spot, even though it's not officially open quite yet, to bring dogs out. This is the 1 acre dog park at the BullStreet Park. You can see Merrill Gardens over here on the right, just to kind of give you an idea of where things are. And so that's been a great amenity too, something we're excited about in the future. Another great reason to bring people to BullStreet, and especially as people get vaccinated and COVID restrictions get lifted, another great reason to gather. So the other things we've done in April of this year, we opened the new Saunders Street extension, which is kind of the right outfield of baseball. That has been extended out to Pickens Street. So there's a new finished entrance to get you out kind of to the Bull and Elmwood intersection, really our front door. So as we continue to do construction in that retail focused area, trying to make sure that there's lots of ways to get in and out of the campus and make that as easy as possible. So the other thing that I just wanted to make sure that I mention is that May 11th is the home opener against the Charleston River Dogs for the Columbia Fireflies. And we'll look forward to seeing a lot of people there. Now I'll just bring back up this master plan. I'm happy to talk from it, answer questions, if there's anything anyone's curious about specifically.
Chandler, we do have one question that the Iron Hill Brewery, what is the timeline for that?
It probably will open next summer. We're in design right now. We'll have to do the construction. They'll do their tenant out bit.
Okay, good. And then a couple more questions that we have here is the emphasis on making the development pedestrian and bicycle friendly.
Absolutely. That's a really important focus for us. And Mark, you'll remember as part of the form-based code, new urbanism are the principles that our form-based code follows. And really that is an emphasis on people, not vehicles. And so if you go out to BullStreet, a travel lane on any of the roads is about 11 feet wide. That's also the width of the sidewalk on a major street. So the goal is you come to BullStreet, you park your car, you might not even know exactly where you want to go, but there's always something interesting to do. There's a great place to sit, there's public art. And so as the district grows, all those things will continue to grow too. But that really is the goal, is for it to be a great place, and very focused on the pedestrian and the person, not the car.
Okay. And Rusty Griffith, he asked the last question, has another one for us. I mentioned the 2005 charrette process was led by a fellow named Andres Dewani, a very well-known planner from down in Florida, from Miami. The design he had, how much of that has been followed with what y'all are planning here? Do you even know how closely it follows, and kind of who has been y'all's planning team and done your land planning and things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I was not involved in the charrette when it was done, but I do know that its final form had 2,000 condos on it. So obviously condos are not something that we were building post 2008 quite yet, but Andres is, and the Dewani firm is great at new urbanism. And that really is, I think, sort of the core principle that drives them as well. And so the principles of the BullStreet Master Plan are very aligned with what was done as part of that charrette. And I think a lot of it has been incorporated over the years. But from a land planning perspective, we have more taken the approach, rather than say, here's the condo area and here's where we're going to build office. It's really been about what's driving the market right now. Where is the interest? How can we serve the people who want to be part of the BullStreet District? So for us, it's been less about what the master plan looks like and more about where the market's taking us, in a way that fits, logically and cohesively into the grid of Columbia. So, it's been important to make sure that this campus gets reintegrated into the fabric of the city. I think that was one of the big goals for this type of project, and doing this was, connecting it back to downtown. We are 3 blocks from Main Street and a mile from the university and the state capitol. So making sure that we do things from a land planning perspective that are logical has been a big focus.
Okay. We've got a couple more questions. And you talked a little bit about this, and I'm gonna jump to kind of the last question first. I remember a lot of discussion about integrating the BullStreet project into the surrounding neighborhood. And I'm curious as to what your comments would be about how that's gone, the emphasis on it, and has that been successful, or do you remain optimistic that it will be successful into, down the road, making it seem like a seamless part of the city fabric, not on a standalone with gates and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first part of that was really connecting the streets that we could connect into the grid. So Gregg Street, Barnwell Street, those sort of things really go all the way sort of into the core of Columbia's CBD. So I think that was sort of the first step. And then the other ways that we're looking to connect into really the fabric of Columbia are things like the Greenway. So our development agreement obligates us to connect to the city's Greenway, which at the time didn't really have a place where it was going to connect. So we've got all these places all over the campus and ideas for ways that we want to, make sure that we fit into this. And we've been able to work with the city team, Parks and Rec, especially on bringing the Greenway into the BullStreet Public Park. How does it get in? How does it go out? Where does it go from here? And where does it come from? We also worked with the Comet. So the Comet comes through the BullStreet District, both on a regular basis, and then also the Soda Cap connector will bring people to and from baseball games. So it's really been a conversation with all of the public and private partners to make sure that in addition to just connecting via the street grid, we're also getting as involved in those community transportation activities as we can.
Right. I am curious as to how y'all are looking at you mentioned the COVID and some of the kind of the surface discussion about the challenges that those have created. This is a true mixed use development. As you go through what's on the ground and what the uses are and what's there and what's planned, it really is retail, office, houses, residential, and then between the park and the baseball stadium. In a 20-year project, tell me how you've looked at COVID and has it made you pivot to some other areas that maybe you didn't think were going to be immediately available to you, and kind of what has been the impact on people that are looking at BullStreet from a occupancy standpoint?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think everybody has done a lot of evaluation on what they're doing and the direction they're heading. And is that the right way? I think for us, it's really been an analysis of, in a lot of ways, what are things we can do to protect ourselves in the future? And I don't mean just, us, Hughes Development as master developer, I mean us as humans. So the West Lawn building is a great example. We were initially into design when COVID first started, but one of the things that our architects brought up was the emphasis on being outside in green space. So every floor of that office space, or really every suite, has the ability to have outdoor space, which is something really different and unique. But I think that will be a great opportunity for people to say, if I've got more outdoor space, if I need to do meetings outside or gatherings. And that's another great thing about, BullStreet, or just really like downtown dense urban neighborhoods in general, is you've got the ability to get outside in a way that's close, and it's walkable. So you don't necessarily have to sit in a conference room. You might go sit in the park and do things like that. So we've definitely been looking at, what are ways that we can prepare for the future should we ever have something like this again, both from a planning perspective and then also from a technology perspective. We've looked at touchless elevators and tried, just try to be intentional about, where the concerns might be and ways you might alleviate them.
The couple other questions from some folks watching. Can you talk a little bit about restaurants that are maybe looking other than the brewery, and then specifically a question about the restaurant outside the baseball stadium? Is anything going on with that? And,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, one of the things we've learned from COVID is really the desire to congregate. And I don't know about you all, but I love my husband, but after about 4 months inside of just the two of us, we were really ready to go see our friends and get out and see our families too. So I think that what we've learned is that there really is an emphasis on great gathering spaces. So we're talking to a lot of different retailers, including restaurants, none that I can say right now, but a lot of things that we're working on kind of behind the scenes. So stay tuned for announcements on that.
Right. And then the next question comes from me is, when are we getting an Apple store here right next to REI?
I don't know, Mark. I might have to enlist your help on that one.
Great location. Be a great location for it.
Absolutely.
What do you? I pay attention to this, and I think it's been really all over the mainstream media as well. Tell me what impact you see construction costs and the increases in costs having on the pace of development. Are you seeing anybody kind of looking at stuff and stepping back, or saying we got to look at some other options kind of stuff? Is it impacting you?
Great question. It is. It's definitely something we are dialed very closely into. I think for a lot of projects, it's been let's go ahead and commit now, because we don't know what what construction pricing escalation is going to do. So if there are projects they're committed to, then we go ahead and sign them up and get them moving. But I do know that's been a concern for a lot of people around the country of what are construction prices going to do. So it's something we've tried to be conscientious of. Luckily, most of the projects that we're working on right now have already been, sort of set, and is not something that we are fearful of at this point, just because of where we are in the process.
are you able to pass along cost increases to tenants or users so far, or you get some pressure back on that?
It really just depends. I mean, we try not to do that. But we've been able to work with our general contractors and architects. You know, we've looked at alternate materials where needed to try to keep things sort of as they were expected.
Good. Okay. How about the parking garages? Can you talk a little bit about what the status is of the parking garages, where they are maybe on this plan that you've got, and
absolutely,
what the status is?
Absolutely. So the development agreement with the City of Columbia has obviously the infrastructure funds, and then of course there are 2 800-car parking garages. So we're working with the city right now to build the first about 880 of those spaces across 2 garages. The first one is called the Sable Street deck. So it's right behind Starbucks on Sable Street, which is the new street running parallel to Bull. That is about a 220-car garage that is under construction now. Kind of right behind the West Lawn building, will serve all the district up here. So that is under construction, will be finished within the next year or so. The other larger garage is called the Freed Street garage. It's right off Freed Street. So it's right here adjacent to baseball. We'll be able to serve a lot of parking sort of in this retail district as well, in addition to baseball, special events, things like that. That's about a 660-car garage, also under construction effectively. They're doing a lot of the procurement right now for those materials, but that one should be up in the next year. So we've got 1 more year of baseball without a parking garage, and then I think we'll be smooth sailing.
Good. Good. And then I guess kind of big picture, as the Chamber of Commerce, we're interested in our own business community and our welcomeness to new businesses. Can you talk a little bit about what has been the major obstacles from getting folks to look at the BullStreet project, the BullStreet District as a location, and then also how has it been selling Columbia, so to speak, to outside folks who've looked at coming, and what's been the pushback and what's been the positives that you've heard?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. You know, REI is a great example. REI looked in the market for a long time and wanted to be somewhere that was regional and central. You know, BullStreet makes all the sense in the world for them because you're basically at the downtown intersection of 2 interstates. You know, Bull turns into 277, into 77, your no turns from Charlotte. Elmwood turns into 126, 26, your no turns from Greenville, Asheville, Spartanburg. So, so that really has been a major selling feature. And then Columbia is such a great stable economy, you know, between the university, the state government, the city government, the Fort Jackson, the great insurance technology sector. It's really been a stable economy that allows people to come in and see the value of that. So I think, you know, an REI finding a space like this at BullStreet is a good example. They love the rivers that are close by. You're 2 hours from mountains, 2 hours from the beach, all the regionality that it brings. We've found that people really, love Columbia and love the story that BullStreet tells and how it fits into the larger overall community, sort of the city of neighborhoods and city of districts. So we found that people really, really enjoy being here.
Good. Well, that's good news for us, and I hope that the business we're making some progress on being considered a business friendly place for folks to consider. The medical school, can you talk a little more? You said it is absolutely good news that the board has chosen to move forward with that. Can you talk a little more about the timeline for that? Has the source of funding, I know, has been some discussion around that. What is the timeline for that?
Well, USC has asked for $35 million from the state legislature this year. And so that really is in its legislative process for its funding. In the timing, it will depend on really getting all those things confirmed throughout that legislative process. But I expect that they will start some initial, done some initial grading work to prepare that site. We'll see some additional uses from the university in the next few months in anticipation of building their larger medical school. But you know, they've got to get through all the legislative processes and their process with design and procurement before I think we really will get a great timeline on exactly when that will be built and when those students start moving to the campus.
Hey, Chandler, can I throw in a few things there?
Please.
All right. So the Senate put in this year's budget about $25 million. Excuse me, the House did. The Senate put in 35. I think 35 is the number that we'll walk away with this year, which is that will total investment from the state of South Carolina, about $55 million to move the med school to where it's located to BullStreet. So if, in my humblest of opinions, I think one of the most underutilized assets that we have in Columbia is the med school, and having that move to BullStreet is going to be huge. Currently, the lease they have with the VA expires in 2 years, but once that lease expires, we'll be paying full. I think we've had it for $1 a year plus maintenance cost and upkeep or whatever, which is pretty much a good deal. Now will be rack rate, which for those buildings, it's just not economical to stay where we are. But more importantly, we cannot attract the talent that we need in an old rundown building. And so having it so close to Prisma, having it downtown on BullStreet property is going to be significant. So the first hurdle is it's got to get approved by CHE the first week of June. And so we're all supportive of that process, and we'll help USC any way we can to get that thing done. So anyway, sorry, just want to chime in a few little nuggets there.
That's great insight, Carl. I appreciate it. And one of the things that you said was making sure that we can attract the talent that Columbia deserves. I think the other thing that USC has the opportunity to do with this new med school is, you know, they could be the first medical school designed post-COVID. So imagine the kind of teaching and learning and research opportunities that they might have to build into their facilities that other people are now trying to go back and understand how that might fit in. So there is an incredible opportunity with the construction and with the design of that medical school to be very much on the bleeding edge of the future of healthcare.
I agree. I'm excited about that. That's probably, I get more excited about talking about that than anything, just because it's real and it's going to happen. But more importantly, the transformation of taking an underutilized asset into one that we could really get national attention for and add prominence to what's currently being offered is great. So thanks for y'all's help there.
Great. Thanks, Carl. A couple other questions from folks that are tuned in. Street connections to Hardin Street. Any connections to Hardin directly from the BullStreet campus, or is it mainly going to be what we see, which is through Colonial and I guess Calhoun Street?
Yeah, great question. We will do connections to Hardin Street at some point. It really has been, all the infrastructure has been more on a phase schedule of when it's needed for other projects. So you've seen Freed Street get built as REI opened, and it's really been on a, sort of an as needed basis. So there was a traffic study done for the BullStreet campus when Sager Park was announced. And so it sort of encompasses all of the district and throughout phases. I think that there are 16 connection points throughout the whole campus. Probably 3 of those are on Hardin. So that'll be something that you see sort of as the district continues to grow, the infrastructure capacities will continue to grow as well.
Right. How many people do you expect to live in the district at completion? What are you forecasting?
Great question. So BullStreet is zoned for 3.3 million square feet of commercial and civic space and 3,558 residential units. I don't know that we'll get to 3,558 residential units, but I think 2,000 to 3,000 is totally within reach, and truly it will all kind of depend on the market. If we're building townhomes like Town Park, obviously there's less density than there would be in something like a Babcock or a Merrill Gardens project. So it's hard to really put your finger on exactly, or even a ballpark of how many people might live there at one point. But I think it'll be, you know, thousands and lots of thousands of people.
Okay, great. A question from Heather Mitchell is, we talk a little more about the lawn space with the West Lawn building. Is it a public space? Is it accessible to everybody, or is it more restricted to the office building?
Yeah, absolutely. So the lawn is intended to be sort of the heart of the public space of BullStreet. So I mentioned earlier that one of the core philosophies that has driven kind of the planning of this is that BullStreet is a great place. And so it might be, you know, if I'm 15 minutes late to meet you, Mark, you're not upset with me because there's something interesting going on. You know, there's a bench to sit or public art or something. So the lawn is really this cool, the sort of the heart of that idea. And the lawn is going to be right here in really the heart of this retail focused district, sort of at the end of Pickens Street. And so when we started talking about planning and you know, where the street grid goes, Pickens Street obviously connects all the way into town, but we have a gate at Pickens and Calhoun. So you see that right here, that is really only wide enough for pedestrian traffic. So that will be open to pedestrians, not to vehicular traffic. And then as you come down Pickens, the Williams building, one of the original buildings that we agreed to save as part of the development agreement, is there. And so the goal has always been, if a street has to end, let's let it end in something cool and something interesting and end for a reason. So, you know, Boy Street ends right on the corner of the Babcock building. It's, you know, it lines up perfectly with the pitch of that roof. And Pickens was really done the same way. So when you have Pickens Street, it kind of ends in this lawn with the Williams building as its centerpiece, and it will truly be used as a public gathering space. If you are familiar with the Weish Pavilion in Greenville, you know, think that kind of outdoor space with very cool, you know, benches and streetscape. And the other thing that we're doing in the lawn and in the spaces surrounding it is that it will be what's called, the designers have told us, it's a VUNERV, which is basically zero curb height streets. And the goal is that it's very focused again on the pedestrian. We've got the ability to shut down that street from Matilda Evans, which is right here, to Freed. And there's zero curb height. So cars feel uncomfortable there. There's planters and bollards and, you know, visual cues for how you separate cars and vehicles, but it's really all about cross shopping and being able to close that down and have great, you know, you might do farmers markets there, or like things like great dinners or yoga on the lawn or all sorts of things. So the lawn is really intended to be this public space that serves all of BullStreet. I imagine it's one of the places where if I say, let's go meet at BullStreet, we'll either meet at Sager Park on the plaza or we'll meet at the lawn, because it's just a great natural place to gather.
Right. Curious, what is the plan on the chapel, the church that's on the property? We
are hard at work on a food and beverage concept there. So not ready to be announced yet, but something I think everybody will be really excited about when we do get to that point.
Great. I was very interested to hear I had missed that the park had been named.
Just happened.
That's great news, and it's a very interesting story. And so that was some news. And then also the district manager hire. Jimmy Quinn. So if someone is interested in, whether it's a contractor wanting to find out about opportunities from a bid standpoint, or a potential tenant, or somebody who's interested in the residential side, what's the best way for them to find out more and investigate further with y'all?
Yeah, great question, Mark. The best way for us is to go to the BullStreet website. There's a contact form, or you can email info@bullstreetsc.com. We'll get it, and then be able to sort of point you in the right direction. If your contractors, you know, get on sort of our bid list, or if you're interested in a specific project, can point you to the GC on that. From residential, we can connect you with all the right people there. If you're a tenant, we'd love to show you space. So that really has been the best way, but anybody of course could call or email anytime, or, you know, come out to BullStreet. That's one of the great things about having Janie as our first full-time hire. So we're actually building out a little BullStreet sales office in the first base building where she'll be officed and have information about what's available. You can walk in, ask questions, get more information, point you in the right direction.
Right.
That should open this summer.
Right. Just as another comment to kind of share, for the longest time, it seemed like a lot of activity was really in the center of BullStreet, and you didn't see it in your kind of ordinary travels. And with the Babcock building, the fence going up around that, and seeing a lot of activity there, certainly with REI and the Starbucks, there's a lot of things that are now more visible. I rode through over the weekend and was just been so impressed with the amount of stuff going on, and again would encourage to everybody, if you've got time and are so inclined, spend some time over there just checking it out, because there is a lot more happening, and like we said at the beginning, it seems like the pace of things is picking up, and that's all positive for your project and also downtown Columbia.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about it this morning. I think there are 7 construction crews on site right now, and so we're always adding more. Expect more this summer, but there's definitely a lot of activity going on out there. So we'd be happy to arrange tours or give people more information about what's going on. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and share.
Right. Just, we'll start to wrap it up. You've been very generous with your time, and we're very happy to have had the opportunity to hear from you, and look forward to continue to watch the progress that takes place. And just want to remind everybody that this discussion today has been recorded. It'll be available on the Chamber website later this afternoon. Also want to remind you that the next Issues Forum will be held on Tuesday, June the 1st, and we hope you'll join us at that time for the next forum. And again, want to thank our partners, the sponsors, Bank of America and Blue Cross Blue Shield, and want to thank each of you for your support of the Chamber and the business community. If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to Carl or Henry or Susan, myself, or any member of the Chamber team. As we wrap it up, I do want to offer Carl Blackstone the opportunity to update us on some Chamber news.
Hey, well, thank you very much, Mark. Chandler, thanks a bunch. It's hard not to get excited about the largest in-town revitalization project going on in this country in BullStreet. So thanks for what you're doing and your team at Hughes. So thank Robert. But anyway, it is awesome. So it gets me jacked up, quite frankly. So appreciate it. The other thing I want to talk about real quick, and so thanks for sticking with me, is this May is Small Business Month, and we're excited to kick off a new program here, Support Small, Save Local. And you're going to see, we'll have a press release later on today, first thing tomorrow. But for those partners, we're excited to kick off and really support local business, small business during the month of May. It's vitally important. They have seen their fair share of challenges this past year. So let's think about supporting our small businesses this month, and we'll give you a great way to do it. If you'll go to www.supportsmallshoplocal.com or go to a Chamber website and you can check it out. There's a video and hashtag support small, save local. So anyway, more to come on that. Check your inbox as well as, or check out the Chamber website. But appreciate everybody being here. Mark, I'll flip it back over.
Great. I just want to thank everybody also, and appreciate that comment, Carl and Chandler. Again, thank you so much for being here with us, and look forward to staying in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you, Chandler.
Thank you.
And Mark.